What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. Well, last time you were here, we had you in back in, I think, June, and blew up. People like hearing from you because people hadn't really heard from you in a while. And one of the things that I was kicking myself that we didn't get to, that I knew we could touch a little bit on camera, but we didn't get to it because you had to catch a flight, was some of the bullshit you dealt with about 8-9 years ago. So I wanted to make sure we got to that right at the beginning today so that you could talk about it a little bit. But essentially, and again, people are going to have to understand some things legally. You know, there's things signed you can't talk about. But essentially, you know, you had this long, amazing career that you outlined in our last episode, and you did a lot of years in the military, but then did around a decade in Ground Branch, which is basically an off-record CIA kill team, if that's what you want to call it. And after doing that, you went and starred on Dual Survival, which was a show on Discovery Channel. You were excellent in that. Obviously, it's exactly what it sounds like. You'd be dropped into these crazy places, and you'd have to figure out how basically you're gonna survive and live off the land. And so I think that was about 4 years you were on that show, give or take?
Yeah, I did 4 seasons.
Okay. What ended it was when you had a nasty-ass campaign run against you online where people, I'll just say who you know, were behind some blank accounts spreading rumors that then these rumors, which were ridiculous, that ranged from everything from, I think they even accused you of murder and stuff at some point, some crazy shit. Accused some stuff, called your mom names, awful things as well, like just terrible things. And it was not vetted by the public, and so people ran with these stories about you, and for a while there, it ruined your life.
Sure.
And you eventually had to bring, and I'm doing a lot of talking right here because Joe can't, in case you haven't caught that drift, but eventually you had to file a serious lawsuit, pay all the money out of your pocket. I'm not going to say who it was against, but we'll say it was at least against the people who were perpetrating this. And I will leave it here. You won out of court on that. And it still, I mean, we all know lawyers' fees. We all know what that was and everything. But what pissed me off about this is I hate it when I see the military eat their own. And for a guy like you who had given his life to the country, in my opinion, and who had done some crazy things that most people never get to do because, frankly, they're not qualified to do it. Shut your mouth, did your work, and could be ruined like that by people from behind a keyboard. I don't accept that. I think that's crazy, and I will tell you, I had a lot of military people in my DMs when you would come on, and again, I was kicking myself for not having talked about this on the podcast, but I gave it right back to them, and I got to be honest, to their credit, a lot of people shut the fuck up. Once I went through what really went on here, they're like, oh my God, I had no idea. So that's kind of me laying the groundwork. But if there's anything you are able to say, because again, there are some legal documents that were signed for confidentiality when you settle out of court and stuff. But if there's things you'd like to add, I'd definitely like to give you that chance at the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah. So the very long story short of it was when I first got on Dual Survival, some things started coming out online about me that were very detrimental. And it ranged from, like you just said, that I was a convicted felon, I was a murderer and a rapist. I mean, pretty much everything you could call somebody from a felon standpoint, I was called. I was also being told that people were saying that I was kicked out of the Marines, I was kicked out of the Army, and dishonorable discharge, and all this just awful things. Very hurtful. At first, it made me angry, but then it turned into hurtfulness because it all started from one individual that I was actually really good friends with. And I guess what I'd like to just say to the people that are listening is this. One, I was forced to file a lawsuit. I tried to talk to these individuals and say, hey, look, why are you doing this? let's talk about this like adult human beings, right? And the more I tried to talk to them about it, the more infuriated they got. Which to this day, I just can't quite wrap my head around it.
Do you think they just went like crazy, or?
Well, one person started the whole thing, and what I'd like to say about when it comes to money and the little fame that I had, notoriety, all of that stuff, it's a drug to some people. And what I mean by that is if you have like a narcissistic personality or something, that's like pure cocaine to people like that.
Yeah.
So, and then you add some jealousy, the worst of human emotions, add that into the mix. And that's what happened. And it was a combination of all these things. And I really tried to avoid the lawsuit, because if anybody has been in a lawsuit, it is literally like walking through hell. Knowing that you're going to come out the victor. I mean, even when I showed my attorney what was going on, he's like, I've never seen anything like this before. And he says, this is a pretty much a slam dunk. Of course, attorneys can't say, oh, you're going to win. Right. Of course they can't. But when they say this is a slam dunk, and it was, like just saying, for example, that I'm a convicted felon. Well, that's pretty easy to prove that I'm not. All you got to do is pull up my NCIC report. Right. I've got like, driving with expired tags, et cetera, speeding, but, murder. I mean, come on. And it's just, the sad thing is, Julian, is the thing that hurts me even to this day is a person that actually really believes that. Like, how could you believe that I'm even walking around and not in jail, for starters? Yeah. Like, okay, let's just go there for now. And of course, people out there were saying, well, no joke, dude, I have the screenshots that I paid off the judges. Let me tell you something. Elon Musk don't have enough money to pay all that crap off. Yeah. But anyway, that's what they were saying. And can you believe people believe that?
Yes, I can. Haven't seen the internet and how it behaves. I can see how people would run with those things. I mean, Alessi and I have witnessed it in the studio with the types of things people will run with. Yeah.
But anyway, I tried to avoid it. I didn't want to go down that road, but it got to a point where it was getting to critical mass, and it had cost me some contracts and some endorsements. And I spoke to my family and my friends, and they're like, look, you have no choice but to do this right now. So I filed a lawsuit, and I'm not going to get into details about it. All I can tell you is they settled out of court for an undisclosed amount of money.
They didn't have a ton of money, that person.
I don't know their financials. It was several individuals. But let me just say this. If you were to put $20 million on the table and said, here's $20 million bucks, but for that $20 million, this is what you're going to go through for the next 2 years, I'd have been like, you can stick that where the sun don't shine. Yeah. That's how bad it was. And, it took a physical toll on me. It took an emotional toll on me. It was a very dark part of my life, because just like you said, this didn't come out of the blue from some idiot that I didn't know. And it's true. And I don't mean to say this in a disparaging way, but unfortunately, I've seen it before. Yeah. The special operations community at times eats their own. Yes. And I can give you examples. I'm not, but they're pretty easy to find. Guys that work together, they turn on each other. I'm sure you've even interviewed people, and these are good
off
people.
Camera, a lot of stuff. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And it boils down to, in my opinion, jealousy, some narcissism, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And, but yeah, man, it was an awful time. And for those of you who are listening, I challenge you, I think you can spend $20 or $25 and you can do a background check on someone. If you're a convicted felon, it's out there. Okay. Yes. Please do so.
It wasn't even creative, some of the stuff they came up with. It's
but wait, hold on a second. It was actually very creative.
No, I'm talking like the stuff, murder, when you're doing that. But the other stuff, talk about this.
Yeah, and it went into my military career that I had forged my DD-214s and and then I was dishonorably discharged.
What's a DD-214?
It's where all it's basically your discharge paperwork. It shows the unit you were in, the dates of service, schools you've been to, your discharge, whether it was honorable, dishonorable, medals and awards and all that stuff. And so the big thing, here was the big thing. The big thing that these individuals were accusing me of was stolen valor. Okay?
Yeah.
Stolen valor, and again, don't take my word for it. Google it.
Can you point the mic up at you a little more? Sorry.
Stolen valor is when a person says they've got, and it's a list of awards like Medal of Honor, Navy Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, saying you have one of those when you don't, and you actually use it to like monetize yourself. Or you're just guys, let me just tell you right now, I don't have medals. I have the been there, done that medals, but I don't have a Bronze Star or Silver Star. I was never in combat in the military, and we talked about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything
don't have any. Don't have any.
Yeah.
So everybody listen. Okay. I don't have medals from being in combat, but that's what they were saying. That I was a stolen valor. That is a complete and utter lie.
For people really quickly who haven't heard you speak before and don't know your background, can you just explain how you went to CIA ground branch and what that is? Meaning, like, it's not on the record,
right?
Per se.
So I was in the Marines and the Army, and so of course, when you're in the military, you do get awards if you deserve them, whether it's a Good Conduct Medal or Bronze Star, Silver Star, whatever, right? So you get medals in the military. When I was recruited for ground branch, I was contacted by the recruiter, met him, and we talked about this in the last.
Yeah, you don't have to tell the whole thing, but
and went through the whole process. Did the polygraph and everything, and made it through the operator's course. Went through a 6-month and 2-week operator course, and then came out the other end and was operational.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.